Computer. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Grace, Peace, and Balance Radio Show by Gabby Abdelkadir. This is episode 90, and I have this incredible young lady for you today who is like a social media and marketing pro. Her name is Kimberly Mays. We call her Kim. But I will let her introduce herself to you, everybody, and just listen carefully. She has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to marketing your business and social media presence. And enjoy. I will be posting her social media links, her bio, on both on my podcast on Podbean and on my YouTube channel if you want to get in touch with her, and I suggest you do. Thank you. And Kim, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about who you are. Tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Kimberly Mays. I'm founder of Creative Digital Systems. My team and I help coaches, professional speakers, authors, influencers, and digital thought leaders elevate their online presence through marketing automation and web design in order to attract their ideal client. So basically, we do all the techie stuff so that the business owners can do what they love to do.
Oh, wow. That is absolutely powerful. Okay, before we get to the business side, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you live, and how you came about into marketing.
Yeah, so I'm from New York City, and how I came about into marketing was via technology. So it was actually through technology that I discovered my love of marketing. I always wanted to create things, and I think even as a little child, I loved to build things out of nothing, and even virtually. I grew up in the 80s, 90s, so the internet we didn't really have internet in the house until the mid 90s. But even before then, I loved to create. I loved video games. I loved puzzles. But then, once I was able to get online, I discovered that I enjoyed doing websites. So if you think of the late 90s, me and my teens, I was just enamored and intrigued by web design. So if you look at any of those late 90s websites, I had a website that looked just like that. And I would do a lot of them, personally, and some for friends for free. And then I transitioned into a career in technology. I wore a few hats, mostly in email marketing. I was the person that coded and built those email campaigns that went out to large businesses. But then I also did a lot of web development, database development, and then after a while, I said, okay, it's time for me to go back to college or go back to school and pursue my master's degree. So I had a choice. I had a crossroads. I could either go further and deeper and get a master's in computer information technology, or there was this MBA over here that I said, wow, this is a lot more interesting because I get to learn a lot more. So I chose to go the MBA route. And that's how I discovered that I enjoy small business and marketing and really putting everything that I've learned and done all together. And then a few years later, I launched my business.
Oh, wow. How long has it been since you started your own business?
Yes, I started in 2017. My business was then called Foolishly Creative, and it was strictly a web design business. But the thing with websites is that they don't work unless there's a system behind it. They don't work unless there is, some way to take visitors from that website and put them somewhere so that you can then sell to them. So that is why I do what I do, because there are a lot of people that do websites, but not as many that will take that traffic and then make them into followers.
Yeah, I see your cat wants to join the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say hi. Hi. Oh.
Yes. It's easier to just let them them just do what they want instead of close the door and then they meow.
I know that is so true. Yeah. So when we talk about websites, there has been a lot of conversation now from people I know that I heard that it's better to have a landing page than having a whole website, because people don't go to website because websites normally have different pages, like one is about the author or about this. So a landing page, if you want to promote something, tell me about that. What is your opinion about that landing page versus a full website?
Yeah, so when people say you don't need a website, get a landing page, you need to understand that those are two different things and they both have a unique purpose. So
Okay.
I recommend having both. But, if you need to pick one over the other, I would say have a landing page. Now, the difference between a website and a landing page is just what you said. A landing page is just a page. But on your landing page, you have one goal, and that's to get them to do what it says on the page. So let's say it's a landing page to, join your course. Then there should be no links, nothing on that page except for that enroll button and that form to fill out to enroll. So that's the purpose of the landing page, is to direct traffic to one particular thing.
Yeah.
But I think when you go into business and you start growing and then you start asking for more money or you sell higher ticket items, your customers will expect to have a place they can go to vet you, especially if they don't really know you or your business. So I think in that sense, it's really great to have a website, especially if you have a professional email address. What most people will do is they'll, copy that website and that email address, go look you up. If you're asking them for $1,500, $3,000, or however have you. So I don't think websites and landing pages are necessarily interchangeable. In fact, they're not. But I think knowing the difference and making your landing pages convert as best as possible is probably the first step that I would do.
The first step. Okay, good to know. Yeah. So where do you see, there are people who are so successful on online business and there are people who are struggling. Why do you feel, and where do they run short on struggling with their online businesses, their online presence?
Yeah, I feel that the people who are successful are the ones who actually publish. And there's really no secret sauce to it, in my opinion. I think it's just showing up and being consistent and following through on what you said that you're going to do, what you've made, the promises that you made to yourself, versus those who are holding back because it's not perfect, or holding back out of fear, or just never making any offers. So the whole point of being online is to let people know that you're in business. And a lot of times what I see people do, they post, but they never really let people know what it is that they do. So they'll get followers, they'll get likes, maybe they're sharing quotes or sharing cute pictures, but at the end of the day, their followers don't have any idea what they're in business, and there's nothing to convert to. So they may be saying, well, I'm so busy, but nothing's happening. So it's about the message as well.
About the message. Okay, so when it comes to social media, which platform do you think is more successful for entrepreneurs and small business owners? Which platform would you suggest people focus on most?
Yeah, so platforms come and go. Platforms, they grow in size. I think it's the platform where your customers are. So let's, for example, if your customers are professionals or institutions or, other business people, then I would recommend LinkedIn, for example. They're more likely to be there. You can build better relationships there. If you're selling things to maybe a younger audience, you could try TikTok, you could try Instagram. You have to just figure out where your people are. Facebook is always kind of a go-to. I think it's kind of a default, really. Like, everybody has a Facebook page. But I would say, you don't have to be on all platforms. Just invest in like maybe one or two and really hone in on that audience there, because every platform is going to have content and a schedule that works for that particular platform. So if you learn one really well, that's better than stretching yourself thin.
Yeah, the problem with Facebook is like, I know we're all connected on Facebook, but not everybody can see your posts. So why is that? I don't understand. This is new, I think, something that's happening, because it never used to be like that. Like, I've been calling people, where have you been? I haven't seen you responding to my posts or commenting. And they say, we never get notification. We never get to see it. So what should people do about that?
Yeah, so the thing to understand about Facebook, even Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, even Twitter or Pinterest, all of these platforms have an algorithm that decides what to show the person. So, of course, these social media companies, they're not going to tell you what the algorithm is because then, everybody's going to do the same thing. But they have an algorithm based on, the types of things that somebody has clicked on before. So if you're a business owner, you may be scrolling through your feed and you notice a lot of content and a lot of posts and ads targeting you as a business owner. It's because Facebook knows what you've responded to in the past. They have a whole profile on you. And so those advertisers can now pinpoint you as a person to display their content to. And then when it comes to just organic content or not unpaid traffic, usually personal post are prioritized, then Facebook groups, and then lastly are pages. So if you're primarily using a Facebook page to reach people, chances are they're not going to really see your content. I think maybe 4 to 10%. Don't know the exacts because they don't publish it, but most people won't see one particular post. So what I recommend is two things. If you're going to be using any sort of social media platform, you should have a scheduler to really make sure that your posts are reposted, because even though you posted it once, it doesn't mean that everyone has seen it. Actually, really hardly anyone has seen it. That's one thing. It's just don't feel like you have to create fresh content all the time. Make a great piece of content and then reshare that, and there are tools to do that. And then the second thing is to really grow your email list. And this is something that's super important and kind of highlighted during the recent Facebook outage. It was a Friday. The Facebook was down for a couple of hours.
Oh my goodness, don't even get me started. You know how many calls I received that day? I didn't even know because I don't like go there all day long. So many calls. Can you check your page? Can you check your book? Can you go? Can you do this? Like it was crazy. Yeah. So what happens in those cases?
Yeah, so that's why it's really good to have the email address of your audience. And there are a couple ways to grow your email list. The one that I always recommend to people is to use a lead magnet, which is just a free guide, a freebie that you give away in exchange for an email address. Or you can also use webinars, you can use challenges, you can use events. So there are different things that you can exchange, like training, to get an email address, so that when you have like the emails, if Facebook goes down for a second, you can then send an email to your list saying, hey, Facebook's down, but if you need to contact me, just reply back to this email or call me. You have a way to talk to them, and then they have a way to talk to you.
Yeah, email. So because I think WhatsApp was out as well. So WhatsApp, definitely Messenger and Facebook was out. So people were like having a panic attack. Yeah. So when it comes to email, what platform do you use and what is your advice? Because I find like MailChimp, I used it years ago. I don't find it user friendly right now for some reason. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so there are lots of email platforms. The one that I use is called Keep Pro. It's spelled a little bit funny. It's KEAP. And AP.
Okay. Pro?
And Pro, yes. They have different versions, but I use the Pro version.
Okay.
And I like it because it's all in one. I get a business phone number from it. I also use it as a customer relationship management tool, which is something I can explain a little bit further. But the nice thing about it is that you have a list of contacts, so you know what they've purchased, when you've last contacted them, what they're clicking on. You have so much data on your audience that it's really phenomenal. There are other platforms, however, I recognize that there are entrepreneurs who are just starting, who are on a super tight budget, and then there are people who have teams and who have been in business for a while and have the financial bandwidth to support a more expensive platform. So I think for people who are just getting started, there are other ones too that are free or close to free. The important thing is not the platform. The important thing is just making sure that you have a platform, because you can always change it, but those email addresses go with you. So once you get an email address, your email list is yours, and you can take that from platform to platform to continue to talk to your audience.
To move, yeah. So for people who are just starting, which platform would you suggest that's not very expensive or free?
Yeah, so the ones who are just starting who have no budget, I recommend MailerLite because it's free up to like 1,000 people, I think.
That's like MailChimp, right?
Yeah, it's like MailChimp. Like if you had to choose between the two, that's the one I would go with. And that's for people who are absolute beginners. Once it depends on like what people are selling, but if they're starting to do retreats, high ticketed events, landing pages, sales pages, things like that, then I would recommend Keep, which is going to encompass all of that.
Okay. Oh, wow. That is
Yeah.
amazing. You know what? I've never heard of those two
Mm-hmm.
up until right now from you. I've never heard of Keep Pro and MailerLite. I've never heard of
Mm-hmm.
them. Yeah, I know of GetResponse.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of others that I've heard of, but I found them very pricey for what I wanted. So I thought I would
Mm-hmm.
just check. Like that's where people like you come in, so that to give the best advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so how do you serve your clients? So I know that, do you do like email marketing on behalf of a client? You
I
do that.
do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I
And
absolutely do. So, there are a lot of people who are afraid to press send. And I understand why. When a lot of people, when they send that email and they get that unsubscribe, it hurts. It hurts at first. You're like, wow, they don't like me. But then, it's something that you definitely need to get over.
yeah.
But, a lot of people email once every 6 months, or their email list, they'll email people every now and then. So what I recommend is have a regular cadence. And if you can't do that, what I do for my clients is I set up automated campaigns
Okay.
that go out automatically to people once they take a particular action. So, for example, if somebody downloads your ebook, I will set up an automation that will send them emails based on your ebook to have them get to know you and see what else you have going on, take them to your website, landing page, or if you've been featured somewhere, if you have a podcast somewhere. We really kind of stretch that out to keep that relationship going so that a business owner doesn't have to press send all the time. But I also recommend that people email their list, their general list, at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, just so that you stay top of mind with people. They don't forget about you, because that's when they start unsubscribing, when you don't email enough and they've forgotten about you.
Yeah.
So that is something that I do. And then also what I do for my clients is we kind of start with the end in mind. So let's say you want people to go into your 90-day program or to a 90-day program, let's say hypothetically. Then I say, okay, well, how are you getting people into this program? Well, I'm doing a 3-day challenge. And I say, okay, great. How many people do you need to be in a challenge to fill up this program? And then once we have the challenge, we're like, okay, well, how are you now filling up the challenge? So we need to get this many people to sign up for the challenge so that they can then take the challenge and then sign up for the program. So we work backwards, and then that number gets bigger and bigger towards the beginning, where we say, okay, this is how many eyeballs we need on this particular landing page to fill that 90-day program. So that was a mouthful. So fortunately for my clients, I write it all down because that's a lot of words. So I understand that. But if that helps, that's what we do.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. What about the social media presence?
Yeah, so for social media, I do have recommendations on automated tools and other things to use. That's not really in my wheelhouse, but I do have a network of people who do that service, and they do it very well. Because I believe when you offer something, you need to be like the best at it.
Yeah.
So if I'm not the best at it, I partner with people who are. So for social media, I have a couple of people that I know of that will do that, and they'll do your advertisement for you.
Oh, wow. That is incredible marketing. How about marketing? Is that part of the,
Yeah, it absolutely is. So it really depends because marketing is so broad.
I
So if
know.
we're talking about just marketing funnels that I kind of described with the the challenge and then going from the challenge to filling up your program, I definitely do that. And then at the beginning of that funnel, you would have, social media outreach, and you would do other types of marketing. So I definitely do support that as well. And through my partnerships, I also partnered with a copywriter too, because that's very important. So marketing encompasses so many things. But what I like to do is, I'm a builder, so I like to tie things together. So if I don't deliver the service, I will tie it in, get somebody else to do it, so that it's kind of a holistic approach.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Excellent. So, what is your advice for beginners for just starting? A lot of people have, as you know, with this pandemic and all, people lost jobs, and everybody is looking to start something new where they can work from home. So what is your advice, like in chronological order, 1, 2, 3, they should do this one, then this second? What is your advice for?
Yeah. So I believe, and this is not a list I would have came up with a year ago, but this is what I've learned over the past year. Number one, you really need to get clear on why you want to do it, because there are going to be things that challenge you and things that really rattle you. Like, your happiness levels are going to go up and down. Your energy levels are going to go up and down. Enthusiasm is going to go up and down. So you need like a vision to be your North Star, to be your sticking point, because you're going to need it. It's hard. It's worth it, but it's hard. So number one, have that. Number two, figure out what problem you solve and for whom, and get super specific on it. So we're all problem solvers, no matter what business it is. Even if you sell like eyelash extensions, you're solving a problem for people who don't like the length of their eyelashes. So, some people like, well, I don't really know. I help people, I guess. Like, nope, you identify a specific problem. Like, if you help people with emotional eating, or if you help people with, get out of debt or come out of bankruptcy or something like that, be like super clear on it, and then be super clear on who is that person that you want to target. Because that's going to help you in your marketing so much, and it's going to save you money by not doing all of these other random things.
Okay, once they have that cleared out, where should they start?
Okay, and then number three, once they have that, is to really make sure that they build relationships with people who fit that criteria. So figure out where they are. So, for example, if you were to help women between the ages of like 45 and 60, it's like, okay, well, where are you going to go to make connections with those people? Not necessarily to sell. I don't reach out and make connections to sell. I reach out to make connections, and then the sales happen just because they happen. So just really figure out where you're going to go to make that connection, because what you get out of it is you get their pain points, you get what it is that they're looking for, you get the types of problems that they need solved. Because you can sit by yourself and guess all day long, but until you talk to a real person, it's going to be kind of a crapshoot. So really build your connections with people, network. That's my number three.
Network in person and in social media. Be active and join groups. That's what you, I'm guessing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. Any other advice that you want to give small business owners and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, my advice is that really keep in mind that your journey is your journey, and it may look different from somebody else's. And I'm speaking a lot from things I've experienced myself. Is because it's easy to look around, especially because social media knows you're in business. So as you are on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is that you use, that platform knows you are a business owner. So it's going to show you other business owners, and it's very easy to compare yourself. It's very easy to get imposter syndrome and then shrink back and not put yourself out there. So just remember that, you don't have to have the fanciest equipment, you don't have the fanciest landing page, the fanciest website, but you do need to be able to clearly state what problem you solve and who you do it for, and then just follow that track.
Okay. Excellent. Oh my goodness gracious. I really need to have a one-on-one with you, young lady. And you're like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this. So you believe that a website is very important? I know that you said if you have to choose one of the two to start with, that landing page, but a website is extremely important.
Yeah, it's important when you reach a certain point. So I
Yeah,
just want to be super clear about that. So, like, if you're just starting from business, let's say you started your business this week, you don't need a website.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think you should start with a website after you get your first client. Um, and then, depending on the price point of your services. So, if you're selling, let's say, like homemade, well, if I'm saying maybe if you sell something that's kind of lower price, you can get away with something, maybe a landing page or even social media profile. But as you sell things that are maybe like $3,000 coaching package or $5,000 retreat, or things that cost a lot of money and you're asking for a lot, for me personally as a consumer, I'm going to look you up to make sure you're the real deal. So that's what happened when I did a webinar, or when I was on a webinar for a business coach. I didn't know her. I just signed up. It was a free webinar. She made this offer for $1,500. I was interested, but I'm not going to give $1,500 to
$1,500.
strangers. So I went to her website. I looked her up. She had, YouTube. She had the credentials to make me trust her. So when you get to that point where you're starting to sell products over 1,500 to like 2,000, 3,000, I say that, you can easily afford a website with one of those
Absolutely.
clients.
Yeah, you got it. What are
Yeah.
the important things that your website should include?
Yes, excellent question. So things that your website absolutely needs to include is a clear headline.
Okay.
Then, your copy is super important. So remember I said that you need to clearly state the problem you solve and who you
Yeah,
do it for.
yeah,
That should be right on the top, because people spend about 6 seconds on your website before they leave. Most people will view one page of your site and they won't come back. And that's with across the board, most websites,
yeah.
even the fancy ones. It's just a reality. So having that will increase the likeliness that they stick around. And then the second thing is some way to collect information. So whether that is a link to a free training or a free downloadable, you want to get the email address, because what that does is it keeps the relationship going. They're not coming back to your website. So if you get their email address, at least you can still talk to them. And then I think also your website needs to have a way for them to contact you, or
Yeah.
a clear call to action. So whatever it is that your website is intended for. So for most, like my clients, they want them to book a call with them. And so that call to action should be on the site, and then that directive, whether you go to a calendar link or whether you go to some other form or whatever, that needs to be on the site too.
Okay. Oh my goodness, like you're a wealth of knowledge. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So everybody who is listening, you need assistance, you need to get in touch with Kim. She is incredible, as you may have just seen in a very short period. I will put in all her contacts below. Okay, apart from work, I know that you love video games. What
Mhm.
else? What is your passion besides the social media and all this business? As a like, what do you like to do on your spare time?
I absolutely love to travel.
Okay.
That if you can't afford anything else, travel is the best investment over things, hands
Mhm.
down. I will sell everything I have just to travel the world.
Oh, okay.
Because when you travel, a piece of that comes back with you.
Yes.
And I've been to a couple countries already. Can't wait to visit a couple more. But the thing I really want to do is explore my own country. So I'm in the United States, and I recently went to Utah.
Mhm.
So when I walked out my hotel room, I saw these like huge snow-covered mountains. I'm like, wow, I have never seen this before. This is cool. This is better than any city lights I've ever seen. And I
Yeah.
couldn't stop staring at it. So just even exploring where you are in your
Yeah.
own country, your own city, state, province, just taking that in is something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent. And besides travel?
And besides travel, I'm trying to think of another one. Yeah, so besides travel, what else do I like to do? Oh gosh, I'm trying to think.
You
I'm
like
on the spot.
reading books or watching a movie or
Yeah, I do love watching movies a lot. Lately I haven't really watched a lot of stuff just
Me
because
too.
I try to not be in front of the screen if I don't have to, just because, with the whole lockdown situation, we work online. I work online all
Uh-huh.
the time, so if I can close my laptop and do something like not digital, that's kind of cool too. So what I like to do is, I used to like to cosplay before all of the conferences kind of shut down. Is that's when you dress up as a anime character or like a comic book character or something like that, and you have a lot of fun with it. That was
Uh-huh.
one thing that I love to do, and I'm just really now getting back into my hobbies. I think as an adult it's really hard. We kind of you know grind
Yeah.
and grind, and now it just reminds me, okay, let me get back into piano, let me get back into dance and things I used to do when I was younger. So
Yeah.
that is on my to-do list.
Yeah. Beautiful. You're not on a
hmm
lockdown now in New York, are you?
no, not really. We're not on lockdown at all, but masks are still recommended.
Yeah.
And then they're starting to roll out boosters and different things. So, hopefully things will turn around, but
Yeah.
we have
Hopefully.
more freedom. But I love international travel, so can't wait to do that again.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
hmm
Yeah. So excellent. So I always ask my guests three questions.
hmm
Actually, let me make them two because you kind of answered one of them. Um, so I'll ask you two questions.
Okay.
If you have to visit three countries before you die, which countries would they be?
Yes. So the first country would be Thailand because
Okay.
I really want to see the elephants and I
Oh,
really just love animals. The second country I think would be South Korea just because I went to Tokyo, I went to Japan, and I really want to see South Korea as well. I love, South Korean media, and I just want to go there. And then I think the last one to round it out, which is really tough because I've never been to South America. I also want to go to Australia, but I know I got to pick one more. So I would say Australia for sure, just so you can see nature and it's really big.
yeah.
Love to do that.
Okay. Oh, good choices. I have never been to, and I have been to Hong Kong, but I haven't been to any of the others. So,
hmm
yeah, good choice. And by the way, there are a lot of animals in Africa, especially in Kenya. I'm sure, like I haven't
Oh
been, but
yeah.
yeah. So they attract a lot of tourism in there in the safari.
Yeah, that's
Um,
also another place too, like Madagascar,
yeah,
Kenya.
Madagascar, yeah,
hmm
Kenya, yeah, South Africa is one of them. And yeah,
hmm
excellent. Okay, so we did the travel. So if you have one dream to fulfill before you
hmm
die, just one before you die that you want to fulfill, what would it be? One
Yeah,
dream.
one dream that I would want to fulfill is I would want to be a foster mother. And I think,
Oh,
yes, because I think I want to give kids a chance. I
oh
don't
my
have
God, you
any
almost got
children.
me emotional there. Oh,
Yeah, because I don't have any kids, and that's okay. But I just really believe in taking care of people who are already here. You're watching the news of like kids, and they're not in good situations. They really didn't deserve that, and
yeah,
I just want to share. I just want to share what I have and leave a legacy. I don't think you need to necessarily reproduce to
yeah,
leave a legacy. You can leave a legacy
absolutely.
and plant seeds in other people. So that's what I would love to do one day.
Oh my God, that is the most beautiful thing I heard in a long
Oh,
while. God
thanks.
bless you. Yeah, because trust me, there are a lot of children, abandoned children out there. It's not
hmm
even funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that would be like absolutely fantastic. And I know that you will make a very good mom, a very good parent.
hmm
Do you have a preference whether it's going to be a boy or a girl?
No, no preference at all, really. I can relate to pretty much anyone,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
probably
Excellent.
older though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful,
hmm
beautiful. Okay, so I think we're almost on time. Any last advice for our listeners?
Yeah. So, last advice for listeners is that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, it's your journey. embrace it, embrace your timing, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. And then just seek help when you need it. I know that it's kind of you could feel like, okay, if I ask for help, people are going to judge me. No one's going to judge you for asking for help. I think people are a lot more generous than you may think. So definitely ask for help, and you have the support you need all around you.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, and I would really love to do a part 2 of this conversation with you. And thank you so much for being on my show.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Until the next time, everybody, I will be posting her bio, her links, and everything. Get in touch with her. She's incredible, as you may have already heard in a short period of time. And until the next episode, wishing you grace, peace, and balance. Blessings.